Thousands boycott classes at the University of Goroka. Diro Primary School takes a tough stand on bullying. And sorcery killings on the rise in Enga and Western Highlands.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
This is Wednesday's news. Good evening and thanks for joining me. Just as another student boycott is ending in Leh, another has begun in Goroka. More than 1,000 students at the University of Goroka today boycotted classes over changes to the academic program structure. It is understood that under the new arrangements, graduates will be awarded a generic Bachelor's of Arts degree and will have to pursue additional years of study to gain teaching qualifications. The following pictures were supplied by citizen journalists at the University of Goroka.
Reports from Goroka indicate that more than 1,000 students from the University of Goroka, the country's teacher training university, went on strike this morning. They assembled on campus with placards and demanded a hearing from the administration and the national government. It's understood the protest stems from the university's decision to introduce changes which the students say has been unannounced. The changes mean each graduate will receive a generic Bachelor of Arts degree instead of a Bachelor of Education. According to student representatives, they will need 2 more years of additional study in order to get teaching qualifications. The years of study aren't the issue, the students say. It is the financial burden that this arrangement places on their families that is troubling them. By 3 p.m., the students were still awaiting forms to begin a mass withdrawal from class. By 4 p.m., withdrawal forms had been handed out and students queued up to withdraw from studies. This latest boycott comes only 24 hours after the Higher Education Minister spoke to students at Leh Polytechnic Institute to resolve their boycott over the rundown facilities. The trend of university boycotts has said a lot about student sentiments. Since the 2013-2014 Unitec boycotts, the general feeling is that the cost of university education is too high, but the facilities and the quality is low. Scott White, National EMTV News, Leh.
Diro Primary School has vowed to take a tough stand on bullying. This follows an EMTV News report yesterday on the attack on one of its students by his fellow peers at the school grounds. Head teacher Hane Charlie condemned the actions of the students involved, saying disciplinary measures will be taken against them.
Diro Primary School is not taking school bullying lightly. This morning, staff convened an urgent meeting to address this issue. Their response follows an incident involving one of their students, which was exposed by his parent through the media yesterday. Head teacher Hane Charlie maintains the school's good track record on disciplinary actions.
Diro Primary School is one of the most disciplined schools in the nation's capital district. We do not let the children out of hand. We take it very seriously and we handle the case according to the scheduled times by the disciplinary committee.
The school has a behavioral management policy in place to deal with students' disciplinary matters. Ms. Charlie says the school was in the process of completing and compiling its report on the recent incident when it went to the media. But this will not stop the school from doing its part.
I will continue to combat it so that I will settle this problem once and for all. I am still for it. I want to solve this problem.
The students involved were apprehended by PNGDF military police yesterday and locked up at a juvenile detention center at Boroko police station, but were later released. The parent of the victim is still adamant on taking legal action. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
Sorcery accusation and sorcery-related torture and killing is on the rise in the Enga and Western Highlands provinces, but many of these cases go unreported. Sadly, it is the women who fall victim to the sorcery accusations, and the penalty is barbarically brutal. The case of late Angeline Leniata Kepari in 2013 is one that received much attention and outrage from people both locally and internationally. EMTV's Diro Primary has this report.
It is obvious that we Papua New Guineans have a strong connection to the spiritual world. Up here in the highlands, those accused of sorcery are often barbarically tortured and killed publicly.
You must go by la posin of Bagarabi Mane now to you talk. Or to you talk now cooking mine or cooking this lab me. No, starlo cooking me on the mine. Missing out stab me to me no make him blah. Means of pining down poison in it. All cooking this la paya. Okay, that I know dia all chewing angel or this la paya and I am like me go through now. Millas in the naked or some all cooking me blah.
Kathy Lem is one woman that was accused of sorcery. She was barbarically tortured during her pregnancy, and as a result, she lost her baby. How many more of our women have to go through this?
All man been torturing me and police no one met. Welcome like and oxim all come to station now no question him all yet.
In 2013, a mother in her late 20s, Angelina Leniata Kepari, was accused of sorcery. She was barbarically tortured and killed at this very spot. This stone here at the Mount Hagen Rabiamul Cemetery marks the grave of the late Leniata Kepari. The question is, was she really practicing sorcery, or was she just another victim of a sorcery accusation?
Late Angeline's husband tells us for the first time that he never thought of his wife as being a sorcerer.
Something mino lugi mosem na emoli torki tokro changumana or kugime mino tingi tislam and mi luru mantu na mino na toto.
When police hear say or information from outside and when get into the village to investigate who was involved in killing, no one comes up with information to say that this person was the person who is behind killing the person accused of sorcery. And that's where the challenges is.
For police officers in the Highlands region, dealing with sorcery-related cases is never easy. According to police in Anga and Western Highlands province, any killing related to sorcery will be treated as willful murder.
You started accusing one another of sorcery and then killing him, or murdering him for that matter, or shoot him down. You will be arrested for willful murder, attempted murder, or even false accusations.
And for people who torture and kill people, I think they have no place in the present age. Therefore, I think we encourage all Christians to let people know that our lives should be only a place for the Lord and nobody else.
Deborah Prentice, National EMTV News.
Landowners have given the government till the 31st of May to address concerns raised in a petition handed over to the provincial government yesterday to stop the PMIZ. The petition was given amidst opposition from a group of men from a landowner company claiming to represent the Baiteta people. MTV's Bethany Harriman has more on this report.
The stance by people from Maiwara, Budup, Rewo and 3 other impact areas of the PMIZ project is to protect this environment that provides a quality of life they've enjoyed for many generations. While the government promises the people equal participation through integrated landowner groups, the story on the ground is very different.
Sampla sampla kisi mailsi pepa na ole mistab. Na wene mailsi gulo government na wene mailsi mipla ole mem question.
Jack Malton is an elementary teacher from Maiwara, an impact area of the PMIZ. He said the ILGs have confused the people. The environmental damage has also been an ongoing fear for locals who use the North Coast Lagoon area, a protected wildlife area, to fish and sell for an income. The people's concerns were given to members of the Madang Provincial Executive Council yesterday to bring to attention of the Prime Minister Peter O'Neill in Parliament. The petition was given against opposition from a group of men from a landowner company claiming to represent the Baiteta people that nearly caused a brawl with landowners. The group of men and their landowner company have backing from a former politician.
Department of Environment Conservation, they will not allow the environment to be damaged. All by treating always now. Make sure me good learner the chat him
Sumka MP Ken Fairweather in this interview claimed that former politicians were behind the project, pushing for it to happen while the people have been left in the dark.
I find it fascinating that the government can borrow money from China to let the Chinese build it and then rent it back again, all provided by the state.
The Sumka MP Ken Fairweather is expected to raise the issue in Parliament's next sitting. Members of the Madang Provincial Executive Council who received the petition yesterday say they will assign technical officers to assess the petition before they present it to the national government. But as that happens, the landowners say they want answers before the 31st of this month. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News.
Discussions on the revised organic law on the integrity of political parties and candidates. I'll bring you that story among others after the break. Stay with us. Good to have you back with the news. A public forum was held by the Registry of Political Parties in Port Moresby today to discuss the revised organic law on the integrity of political parties and candidates. The revised version is set to address challenges that PNG is currently facing, including educating roles of the members of the political parties.
Very, very important.
According to the political parties registrar, Dr. Alphonse Gelu, many of the political parties and candidates do not know the relevant laws and regulations to form a political party. A party should have a membership of 500 and must have enough budget to operate the party to be considered a political party. However, in PNG, there are 45 registered parties and many of them do not have any members at all. Dr. Gelu says that 99.9% of the parties are poor as they don't have enough financial support. The focus of the revised organic law is to strengthen political parties in PNG, nurture political stability, and to strengthen weak areas of the organic law.
All the political parties in Papua New Guinea are still in their infant stages. The party system in PNG has not developed to an extent that we would call these groups as political parties. So that is a very big challenge for the register. Okay, and that is what we are trying to do now.
The review started in 2010 after the Supreme Court ruled that a number of provisions were unconstitutional as they affected the ability of MPs to perform their public functions and duties. The revised law has few changes. Some of the new provisions stated that parties must nominate and endorse at least 10% of the members of the 111 seats in the parliament. From the total endorsement, one must be a female candidate. MPs who win under a registered political party will attract 20,000 kina funding from the Central Fund. If there is a vacancy in the office of the Prime Minister, an MP who is a member of a registered party with the highest declared candidates shall be the next Prime Minister. Critics have also emerged from the provisions.
The proposition that I put on the floor, Amendment 145, to provide that in a successful vote of no confidence, in addition to the power to dissolve by an absolute majority vote, and in addition to the last 12 months, to simply result in dissolution of the House.
Meanwhile, the first reading will be in the next Parliament sitting, and then a set committee will distribute documents to receive opinion from the public. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
The National Executive Council has approved the drafting instructions for the draft legislations to implement the Kumul restructure. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill made this announcement in a statement. He said Cabinet has approved drafting instructions for the Kumul Petroleum Holdings Authorization Act 2015, Also, Kumul Minerals Authorization Act 2015 and the Independent Public Business Corporation Amendments Act 2015. He said Cabinet has directed the First Legislative Council to draft the legislation in accordance with the approved drafting instructions. The Kumul restructure will result in the establishment of specialized entities such as the Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited, Kumul Minerals Holdings Limited, and the rename of IPBC as Kumul Consolidated Holdings Limited. The restructure will modify and establish distinct roles and functions for IPBC and the majority of state-owned enterprises. The call by the state to build a climate-smart agricultural sector is well supported by the Office of Climate Change and Development. It comes as OCCD is embarking on food security, an agenda the state is vocal about. With the new food security policy set to be formulated, OCCD has commended the agriculture sector in highlighting the changes that the department will encounter when looking at food production, particularly in remote areas.
The effects of climate change, like rising sea levels, variation in rainfall and rising temperatures experienced in the highlands and highlands of Papua New Guinea, is influencing the growth of fresh foods, livestock and cash crops. According to a number of researches conducted by OCCD, the effects of climate change are likely to have a wide range of impacts on various aspects in the agriculture sector. In PNG, the state will be formulating a food security policy to ensure the food grown is healthy and addresses how the change in climate has affected the production of fresh food. From the Food and Agriculture Organizations of the United Nations Organizations, or FAO, Finding Project, there are predictions that agriculture production levels in Australia, Vietnam and parts of the United States will be hit hard, subsequently giving PNG an opportunity to upscale its agricultural levels. This means the food security policy, once formulated, will be timely and must present innovative solutions to address the global food security crisis. OCCD will be running alongside the state in promoting food security through its PNG climate-compatible development management policy. Takla Gunga, National EMTV News.
With the upcoming APEC summit in 2018, Papua New Guinea needs to comply with international aviation standards, with support from the Australian government through an agency support arrangement between PNG Civil Aviation Safety Authority and the Australian High Commission. Work is underway to achieving these and more. The instruments to formalise the arrangements were signed by all stakeholders at CASA headquarters here in Port Moresby this afternoon.
Following the signing ceremony, work can now progress to improve Papua New Guinea's aviation industry. Minister responsible Stephen Davis said it has taken 8 months to finish the arrangement, one he says will help CASA move closer to improve compliance standards.
This assistance will be delivered to CASA PNG over the next period of almost four years. It's 2015 to 2019. And any assistance to CASA PNG obviously is a critical assistance to PNG civil aviation and the people of our country.
And I must commend again your team for accommodating our needs and ensuring that the agency support arrangement will address what we really want and will assist us in building our capacity and further improve our systems and processes.
The arrangement aims to enforce safety and security standards for the regulator, in this case Civil Aviation Safety Authority. Training will also be provided for staff and industry professionals with hopes to achieve and maintain high standards of compliance with special interest in aviation security and safety requirements for 2018 APEC.
Support provided through the arrangement to be signed today will contribute to a safer and more reliable transport network and will assist CASA by supporting top quality training and mentoring for CASA staff and industry professionals, contributing to enhanced engagement with industry and stakeholders, ensuring that the legal framework underpinning CASA operations is fit for purpose.
At the cost of 8 million kina, activities under the arrangement will be delivered through the PNG Australian Transport Sector Support Program, Australia's Civil Aviation Safety Authority and Strongham Government Program. The development assistance will continue over the next 4 years from 2015 to 2019. Bridget Comatep, National EMTV News.
Members of the Southern Highlands Provincial Assembly have voiced their support for Southern Highlands Governor William Powie. Since coming into office, the Governor has received a lot of criticisms from the public on the lack of service delivery. Governor Powie on several occasions have called on his critics to stop talking and work in partnership with the provincial government to deliver services.
Southern Highlands Assembly leaders, including Provincial Projects Manager Dennis Mogea, in a joint statement made their stand, saying it is evident services are reaching the people. During a recent inspection by the Provincial Projects team, the team filed a report stating their findings. The report highlighted some of the projects in progress, like the school uniform rollout program and the school infrastructure projects.
All our leaders of province, especially all business houses, all educated elites of Southern Highlands province, you must support him government, and you must make sure that all the poor people or village level, you must got all basic services.
Southern Highlands Governor William Powie, in a recent event, called on all Southern Highlanders and especially business leaders to work in partnership with the provincial government.
Land working business, Southern Highlands provincial government by one bill, one time you one bill, one time government law. We are intervening in community where working work from Mipla. You look him. We need to do business.
In the Hapa Mendi LLG, road infrastructure projects like the Cohen to Kombal Road and the Upper Mendi roads have been upgraded, allowing vehicles to travel to the villages. The president of Upper Mendi LLG, Solomon Timbol, said the improvements to the feeder roads allows people to have easy access to services.
Been paragraph for several years ago finished.
The leaders have commended the provincial government's policy pillars like education, health, law and order, and infrastructure such as the new Keep, Kero and Kewabi schools under the provincial government's infrastructure projects.
William Powie provide him all uniforms, all school picking and first of its kind.
The government has also undertaken rehabilitation projects in Mendi town, like the town upgrade and the proposed 4 million kina Mendi market. These assembly leaders have called on critics to put personal differences aside and work with the elected leader for the benefit of the people of Southern Highlands. Michelle Amba, National EMTV News.
And now we take a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3695 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was fetching $0.3620 $0.4504 Australian dollars, $0.3187 euro, and 42.97 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee and cocoa closed the day higher, while copra closed the day lower. Palm oil closed lower, while crude oil and copper closed the day higher. And finally, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 37 points lower, the ASX closed at 62 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 67 points higher. Among local and international news coming up after the break, the second earthquake in Nepal that claimed the lives of over 50 people. Stay with us. Welcome back. Rabaul District in East New Britain has taken on the responsibility of visiting schools and hospitals in their district to do disaster awareness. The district has taken the move after realizing that East New Britain province lacks a proper disaster emergency plan for volcano and tsunami prone areas. Rabaul District Authority says the province needs a proper disaster plan to prepare its people for any big disasters. MTV's Edwin Fidelis reports.
Over the last 12 months, there hasn't been any serious discussions, both at the provincial and national level, to discuss a provincial disaster and emergency plan for East New Britain province. Districts in East New Britain are well aware of the problems that will be caused by any disaster-related events. Now, after the experiences seen in the 1994 eruption, Rabaul district has taken an initiative to visit schools and hospitals to do awareness and prepare its people for any disasters.
Long all districts, all districts, all itu mas kamo bantemol disaster preparedness plan belongon, because all locations belong all schools in one kind. Two law management belong all schools and Mr. Blohan belong one district. Rabaul district me play including to all coastal schools, Longisel, me stop inside, Lodisela preparedness belong me because communication belong me and me link one them all.
In August last year, when a minor eruption happened, more than 100 families went through a severe food and water shortage. Several villages were badly affected, forcing evacuation of families to safer areas in the inland Gazelle and Kokopo district. The cost of cleaning up Rabaul town after the 2 days of continuous ashfall went up to 3 million kina. Rabaul residents say the series of earthquakes and the minor eruption that happened last August were not the first and they won't be the last. The province will need at least 4 million kina to come up with a disaster plan that includes the upgrading of its existing roads that will be used as escape routes.
We plan to escape route, and we need the funding so that we can find escape route so that in place for ready prong disaster by come up.
Rabaul district is the only district in the province that have spoken out, calling on the government to set up a provincial disaster plan. There are many other districts in disaster-prone areas in the province that share similar situation but haven't spoken out yet. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Eligible voters have expressed frustrations that their names were not registered on the electoral roll. This includes voters in and outside of the autonomous region of Bougainville. Voters say they were denied democratic rights to cast votes to elect leaders in this important election for Bougainville. MTV's Fabian Hakelitz reports.
While polling for the third autonomous Bougainville government general election has begun, eligible voters have missed out because the names weren't registered on the updated electoral roll. This administrative error is faced by eligible voters in Bougainville and those living outside the autonomous region. Eligible voters in Port Moresby expressed frustrations and, speaking off camera, told MTV News that the democratic rights were denied, especially in this election when Bougainville is to decide on its referendum pathway to independence. In an interview with NCD Assistant Election Manager Rosaline Tabogani, several voters who registered this year were unable to cast their votes.
Last 2 days and today we have faced the same problem. We have duplicate names, we have disease identified by families, and we have a lot of people refuse to cast their vote today because of their names are not on the roll.
However, this administrative error shouldn't become an excuse for eligible voters. All must turn up and check the names at the polling site at Trumu House, Boroko.
Even though most of them are turned back, still come and please just check their names. And if they can at least identify the person that is the deceased on the roll to us, that will be good so that we can report back to Bougainville office.
However, Bougainville's acting electoral commissioner George Manu was very serious about this issue and gave assurances that these eligible voters in Bougainville still have a chance to cast their votes. Mr. Manu said the Bougainville Electoral Commissioner's office has examined this issue as a matter of priority and have implemented a procedure to ensure maximum inclusivity. Nothing there is a provision under our existing legislation that provides for a person to be reinstated for the purpose of voting. The procedure is that people whose names aren't registered on the updated electoral roll should go to the Bougainville inside Bougainville special voting places to check. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Northern Governor Gary Jufa is critical of the functions of the Melanesian Spearhead Group. He says if MSG is not promoting the interests of Melanesians, then it must be disbanded. His statements come after PNG supported Indonesia's bid to be an associate member of the Melanesian Spearhead Group.
Mr. Jufa says there is growing resentment from other Melanesian countries towards the Melanesian Spearhead Group. He has returned from his recent trip to Fiji, where Melanesian leaders have questioned the purpose of the MSG.
The MSG is not fighting to protect the interests of Melanesians, then it should be disbanded. It becomes an irrelevant organization that serves no purpose. The MSG is not there to merely be a conduit to rubber stamp since the trade agreements, such as PESA Plus or the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The MSG is there to fight for the interests of Melanesians, and that includes the people of West Papua.
Concerns have also been raised on PNG's support for Indonesia to be an associate member of the regional grouping.
Honored to have our distinguished visitors here in our country, and today's discussions have gone further into ensuring that our bilateral relationship is further strengthened by our talks today. We have also agreed for Papua New Guinea's support for Indonesia to become an associate member of the Melanesian Spearhead Group, which Papua New Guinea will gladly.
Jufa sees it as unfair to the West Papuans who have requested on several occasions to be granted full membership. Jufa also raised the issue of West Papua freedom with his regional counterparts. He maintains a collective approach is needed to bring the issue of West Papua to the United Nations.
The need to bring the issue of West Papua to the United Nations collectively. And as a result, I've been invited to to Samoa and Tonga to speak in regards to that matter.
Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
The Salvation Army's 2015 Red Shield Appeal fundraising event held in Port Moresby today was a big achievement to combat social issues in the country. This is part of its dedicated support and ongoing commitment towards addressing issues of HIV and AIDS, gender-based violence and child abuse. MTV's Eric Harupma has more on this report.
At its 2015 Red Seal Appeal fundraising today, over 380,000 kina has been raised to carry out its community projects. Red Seal Advisory Board Chairman Mark Baker said this contribution will go towards addressing issues of HIV and AIDS, child abuse and gender-based violence.
In this country are one of the great providers for the community, for underprivileged people, including children.
However, while there is a great need to address these issues, there has been major challenges in no safe houses for counseling and resource centers for survivors.
It has become increasingly notable that many of our people, particularly in more disadvantaged areas, are feeling stuck, trapped, left behind in our ever so fast-growing economy.
Lady Baba O'Neill said the prevalence of these issues has posed a vulnerable threat for the people. The Salvation Army has played an active role in providing health services, educational training and awareness programs to provide awarenesses, detect and support patients living with HIV and AIDS, and also assist with resource centers to cater for homeless children and carrying out counseling for gender-based violence.
Like many of us here, they need to have someone listen to them, understand the obstacles they face, highlight their strengths, help them remove these obstacles, set realistic goals to be successful and be supported.
Eric Aruma, National EMTV News.
Turning overseas now, another powerful earthquake has struck Nepal, killing more than 50 people. The 7.3 earthquake hit the surrounding areas of Kathmandu, including parts of India. Most of the fatalities occurred east of Kathmandu, where people are just beginning to pick up the pieces after the April 25 quake that left more than 8,000 people dead.
The elder people, we are making them control.
The quake, which had at least 6 aftershocks, hit the mountainous region near the border with Tibet and Mount Everest, triggering landslides and destroying several buildings, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Nepalese politicians ran out of a parliament chamber when the quake struck. Quake evacuees in Kathmandu who had been staying in temporary housing and tents ran out to open ground. Affected Nepalese woke up this morning after a night sleeping outdoors. The 7.3 quake killed at least 66 people and injured over 1,000. 5 people were killed in Indian states bordering Nepal, 4 in Bihar and 1 in Uttar Pradesh, officials said. In the city of Patna in Bihar, relatives mourned the death of a victim killed in the quake. The United Nations World Food Programme carried out an aerial assessment mission to measure the extent of damages.
We wanted to quickly determine whether staff was safe, whether there had been any impact to our operations, our own.
United Nations spokesman Jens Leak from the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says he fears the worst for Nepal.
It's a very severe earthquake. It's in a highly populated area. So honestly, right now we fear the worst.
Survivors tell of their daunting experience, while some, despite the carnage, still have hope.
So this time it was very big, so I just ran here. I was very scared at that time.
Everybody is scared right now. Nobody stay in the house. Everybody was in the road and like field. If they are sleeping, is I don't know what we have to do with the problem. Why is happening like this?
And they will distribute some good things in our village, we hope.
This latest quake only adds to the stress for residents of a region who had been trying to return to normalcy until Mother Nature reasserted herself. Coming up in Trukai Sports, Sprint Queen Toya Whistle departs PNG after a brief visit to the country, and the 2015 Women's Snooker titles launched in Port Moresby. Details after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Sprinter Toya Whistle has just flown out of PNG after a brief visit. In an interview with MTV's Shane Saroya, Whistle spoke of her top performance in the recent Oceania Athletics Championships and that she feels she has no rivals in the Pacific region.
She is currently the Pacific's #1 female sprinter in the 100-meter and 200-meter sprints. Whistle said her preparation for the Pacific Games have been going very well.
Trainings, everything is going good, and facing some tough time with my older brother Kupin Whistle. We lost our dad and our brothers, but these things can't let us down, and we move forward, and we're looking for the games back home, in Papua New Guinea.
Toya has her eyes set on the Pacific Games with the goal to reel in as much medal as she can, particularly the 100, 200 and the 4x100 meter relay events.
Yes, I'm aiming for 1 and 2 and relay 4x1 and 4x4. In the 400, I have Betty Burua and some Donna Cameo is young girls coming up. So there's good competition between PNG, 3 of us trying to dominate all the 400. So I'll do my best in the 400.
While the loss of her father has been hard on her, Toya has become one of the most recognizable athletes in the Pacific region. Through sheer determination, hard work and dedication, you can achieve greatness.
Well, from that case, of course, yes, it's a home ground, and all the PNG know who you are, and so many expectations gonna be there. But I have to I do my best to make PNG proud and put PNG on the map.
She flies back to Australia to continue training. Shane Saroya, National MTV Sports.
And in snooker, the 2015 Women's Snooker titles was launched today in Port Moresby. In its 14th year, the annual tournament is expected to see an increase in women competing for the title. 9th-time champion Gawa John will be looking to defend her title, but could also face tough competition from emerging talents.
An anticipated 40 women are expected to register in the 14th Women's Snooker titles in Port Moresby. The Port Moresby Open titles and corporate snooker competition has been an avenue for emerging talent as well, most of whom had made the transition from playing pool to snooker. 9th-time defending champion Gawa John is hoping to secure another title under her belt this year. She is expecting to face tough competition from runner-up Madeline Kaina and 2014 Women's Player of the Year Helen Samuel.
There's a few of them, so yeah, Helen and Madeline would be a good challenge for me.
With the aim of supporting women and the growth of the sport, the Women in Snooker Association has also been established.
We just formed the committee after, I think nearly 2 years of discussing of forming this association, and we finally got the approval from the PNG and POM BSA body to give us the go-ahead to form the Women in Snooker. Well, most of the ladies that are on the committee, they're actually players as well. Yeah, we're all players.
Inaugural sponsor of the Women's Snooker titles, National Gaming Control Board, have once again jumped on board to support the tournament this year.
We've been helping the sport itself, or the code itself, for the last several years now in a big way. But this one, we believe that it will help the women, and we will continue to give our support.
The tournament will be held from the 26th to the 30th of May. Registration is now open and will be closed on the 18th of this month. Scholar Sengi, National EMTV Sports.
And Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Good to have you back with Trukai Sports. The breakfast held today at the Amini Park was part of a fundraising effort in the fight against cancer in Papua New Guinea. This is the first time Cricket PNG has been part of the Cancer Foundation efforts to raise funds and educate people on fighting this deadly disease. MTV's Elijah Levet has this report.
Despite the rainy weather in the nation's capital, Cricket PNG's biggest breakfast in support of the Cancer Foundation's aim of reducing cancer in the country was a success. Newly appointed Barramundi captain Jack Vera had this to say about the day's event.
Firstly, our aim or our goal is to support Cancer Foundation in Papua New Guinea, and look, all the rep players and especially all the Cricket PNG players, they are all very supportive and they are willing and keen to support the program.
Cricket PNG has been heavily involved with different communities in and around Papua New Guinea, and showing support to the Cancer Foundation was another way of giving back to the people.
Yeah, Cricket PNG is excited and to be blessed as well to support this program. And look, it's a give and take thing, so we want to give back to the community. In doing that, we want to support the Cancer Foundation program.
Being involved with the community has in a way helped with Cricket PNG's success in international events over the years.
I think through all these programs that we have done, we have contributed to the success of our players, and as you can see, the Pacific MMI was ranked #1 in the Southeast Asia, and also the Barramundis still playing to qualify for the World Cup. So yeah, all these little programs, they contribute towards our team's success also.
Cricket PNG are proud in supporting the Cancer Foundation and have encouraged different sporting associations and federations to join in this worthy cause. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
Well, that report brings us to the end of Trukai Sports tonight. Coming up next, the weather details. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
A quick look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In southern region, Port Moresby and Poponeta to look forward to rain periods. In Momasia, chances of a few showers developing in Wewak. In the New Guinea Islands, mostly fine expected in Loringa. And in the Highlands, all centres, brief showers, then morning fog. Well, that wraps up the news, sports and weather tonight from the news team. I'm Tokana Hasavi. Thanks for your company. You take care and stay safe. Good night.